This is 6th grade, Module 1, Lesson 2, about ratios. You'll need the classwork for that activity, which says Lesson 2, Ratios. It has a line plot on the bottom of that page. That's where we're going to begin. The first thing that we need to do is to create a ratio relationship. That's just two sentences that describe a ratio and explain the order that the numbers should be in. An example of that would be, in my family, for every 3 boys, there is 1 girl. The ratio of boys to girls is 3 to 1. The important thing to know about this ratio relationship is that there are 2 sentences. The first sentence gives all of the information. It tells all of the quantities and labels each number. That gives all of the information about the ratio. The second sentence tells us the order the number should go in. So it specifically says from boys to girls. Now when it's giving us the order, it doesn't have any value attached to it, just the labels. But then when we get to the ratio, it's the opposite. It only gives us the values in order. It no longer tells us which is boys to girls. That's already been determined. So anytime you write a ratio relationship, you need to have 2 sentences. The first sentence gives all of the information. The second sentence tells us the order and then gives us the ratio. You need to create 2 ratio relationships on your paper. Do that now. If you need more time to complete your ratio relationships, pause the video, because I'm going to go ahead and move on. We'll move down to the bottom of the page for the exploratory challenge. Here, read the description and study the information on the line plot. Don't answer any questions right now. Just read the description and study the line plot. After you've read over this information, you should be able to describe what the information is about without looking back at your paper. In order to describe accurately what the information is about, you should be able to answer 4 of the 5 W's. Now you might recognize that from writing class, but to describe it to someone, you would want to tell who, what, where, when, and why. So who would be a t-shirt manufacturing company or teen girls. What? And that would be their favorite color of t-shirt. Where? That doesn't really apply to this. It doesn't give us that information and we don't need to know. When? And then why is just to get to know for production. How many to produce or manufacture. That's why they asked them. So, a t-shirt manufacturing company asked teen girls their favorite color of t-shirt. And they took the survey. Now, based on the survey, should the company order more pink or orange fabric? Look at the line plot to decide. If you said they should order more pink fabric, you are correct. There are 5 girls who chose pink and only 3 girls that chose orange. What would the ratio of pink to orange fabric be? The ratio of pink to orange fabric would be 5 to 3. Now, could it also be 3 to 5? This is when you need to think back to our ratio relationship. We said a ratio is a specific order of numbers, and we have to make that clear. And what we did here is we made it clear by saying boys to girls. When I asked the question, I made it clear because I said pink to orange. So 3/5 is not a ratio of pink to orange. These numbers have to go specifically in that order, pink to orange. However, we can describe another relationship with the ratio 3 to 5. Study the data on the line plot and write a ratio relationship for 3 to 5. Do that at the bottom of the page. Double check your ratio relationship for 3 to 5 and make sure you have both sentences. One sentence with all the information, the next sentence sets up the ratio, what order, and then your ratio gives only those values. Okay, turn your paper over. On the back is a table that's set up with the description of ratio relationships, and they'd like you to create a ratio to match the relationship given. So number 1, for every 7 white t-shirts they manufacture, they should manufacture 4 yellow shirts. The ratio of the number of white t-shirts to the number of yellow t-shirts should be. Create that ratio and write it in the box to the right. The order that they asked for was white shirts to yellow. So make sure your ratio is in that order, and the correct ratio is 7 to 4. Go on down to the next one. Actually, go ahead and complete that table. Read each ratio relationship carefully and write the ratio that matches the relationship described in the box to the right. If you need more time to complete this chart, push pause. We're going to go ahead and check the answers now. The next ratio relationship they described was yellow t-shirts to white t-shirts, and the ratio is 4 to 7. The next ratio described was white t-shirts to colored t-shirts. Some of you may have had a hard time with that one because if you look at the line plot, there's not a specific section that says colored. However, based on the information we're given, we know that every shirt that's not white is colored. So you need to total up all of the shirts that are not white. In this case, the ratio would be 7 to 19. Next is the ratio of red to blue, which is 1 to 4. Yellow to orange, which is 4 to 3. Then blue-green with pink-red, and the ratio is 6 to 6. Now notice, 6 to 6 does seem like an unusual ratio, but it does fit within our rules. All ratios have to be written in a specific order. They cannot have negative numbers, and they can't both be 0. 6 to 6 does fall within our 3 rules, so that is okay. We can also simplify 6 to 6 and put it in a simpler term. If we take 6 to 6, we can divide both numbers by 6. 6 divided by 6 is 1. 6 divided by 6 is 1. So anytime you have a ratio, you can write it with the exact values they are given, or you can simplify it. So in this case, I would accept 1 to 1. And the very last one is orange to the total. So the number of orange shirts is 3, and the total number of shirts would be 26. So 3 to 26 would be correct. Okay, double check your answers there. And then now move down to the last table on that page. Here, they have given you the ratio. Using the information from the T-shirt manufacturing survey, write a ratio relationship that describes the ratio given. So in each of the 4 boxes, you need to create 2 sentences from the line plot that would match the ratio. Do that now. If you need more time, push pause on the video. I'm going to go ahead and move on. Although on some of these ratios, there's just 1 or 2 possible answers, I'm not going to go over all of those now. I can check that whenever you turn in your missing assignment. So that's all you need for that. Once you have it completed, you may turn it in. The homework for lesson 2 just has 2 problems, but be careful because one answer is not going to answer that whole question. On number 1, it asks you to write 4 different ratios. So these are going to be associated ratios. Associated ratios was one of our vocabulary words. It means many ratios about one topic. So you're going to write 4 ratios, all of them pertaining to the color of tiles in this box. So you're going to create 4 different ratios and describe the ratio relationship for each one. So very similar to what you just did on the classwork, you're going to write a ratio and then tell me what that ratio is representing. You need 4 just to answer question number 1. At the bottom, it's asking you to see if Billy wrote his ratio correct, why or why not. It asks you to explain your answer. Please do that using complete sentences and be very specific so that I know you understand the right or wrong way to write a ratio. That is all for lesson number 2.